Okay, got another group match. Oh yeah, first time I'm actually like using my fake webcam, which is like great. But got another group match between Squirtle Squad and Central. We've got Luca, who's Stallion for Central, and Harris, well, Matt Harris, who is Harris for Squad. So I mean, as usual, it's group v group between the two Facebook groups. The links are in the description. I mean, make sure to join. I mean, for great competitive content and just like other stuff in general. And for me, I mean, like, subscribe, and have fun. I mean, and hopefully you get like a good information from this video. So let's go ahead and start. So got music off, speed slow, and so you got Luca brought Weavile, Skarmory, Garchomp, Slowking, Nidoking, and Tapu Koko, and then Matt brought Swampert, Clef, Among Us, Buzzwole, Hydreigon, and Heatran. Alright, so let's see. Luca led with Garchomp, he led Harris, he led with Swampert, and at this point, I mean, they can both just trade Toxics and trade Stealth Rocks. So I mean, it's a pretty much just going to be a pretty even trade. Yeah, so I mean, they both, same thing happened for each of them. So Lucas switches into a Skarmory on the Swampert, and Swampert goes a flip turn. I'm not sure if that was like the best move, because Swampert could have ended up hitting Garchomp and losing a lot of health due to Rocky Helmet and the rough skin. And then he goes into Heatran, which forces out the Skarmory, goes Slowking, which can just kind of sponge up some attacks. He gets caught with Magma Storm, so he can't just freely switch out except for Teleport. And yeah, he goes for Taunt here, so now he can't actually click Teleport. So Slowking's kind of stuck in, but it's got the bulk to really like survive. Gets it, bops it with a Toxic, kind of puts it on a timer. Then he goes for Scald, which does, a good 52%, which is not good for the Tran. Goes for Earth Power, brings it down to 19%, and Scald here kills. So it's like, it was a little too risky. With it being 52%, 55 is super close anyways. So Hydreigon comes in, and I personally would have switched out, but because, well, he could have sacked it just to make sure he guarantees that he gets a free switch in. And then he goes into Nidoking, which just can kind of click buttons, because no matter what it does, like it hits hard on everything. So he goes in Swampert, hits it with Sludge Wave, and looks like Swampert would get a, looks like, possible 4-hit or 3-hit KO. So forces Nidoking out, goes into Skarmory here. Goes for EQ, which does nothing to it. So it's immune. Let's see. Swampert switches out, goes Buzzwole. I'm not really sure why he went Buzzwole here, because Skarmory could be carrying like Brave Bird. So Skarmory gets up free spikes here, goes into Garchomp, and he actually goes for CC. You usually see like Buzzwoles run Drain Punch just for like longevity's sake. So he goes for CC, takes a good chunk of damage from the rough skin, the Rocky Helmet. Clef comes in, it takes damage, so that means it's unaware. And Luca goes for Flamethrower here. I'm assuming he might have thought that the Among Us would come in. So now Nidoking comes in for free again and can just tee off again with Sludge Wave. And because he's got the spikes up and the Stealth Rocks, now it's a guaranteed 2-hit KO. So it only did, like I said, it only did 27, but because of the Toxic and the Rocky Helmet, the spikes and hazards, it's in range, and it just dies there to the Ice Beam. Goes Hydreigon, the only thing that can switch Nidoking out. And so he goes Tapu Koko, which can pretty much take almost any attack except for Earth Power. Goes for Dark Pose, does nothing, and Tapu Koko can honestly just freely click either Volt Switch or U-Turn. Clicks U-Turn, and it takes some Rocky Helmet damage, but Nidoking comes in for free, so that's the goal. And Nidoking again can just kind of tee off with an Ice Beam and knocks out the Among Us. And that's the thing, like Nidoking shreds up so many like cores as long as he outspeeds. So he goes on Hydreigon. Skarmory comes back out. And I mean, Skarmory... Let's see, Skarmory actually took 44%, so I mean, that's a solid amount of damage. He defogs here. And Skarmory goes for Whirlwind. So Buzzwole comes back out, and I mean, he can sack the Skarmory if he wants to, and then okay, so Ice Punch didn't do anything. He could have honestly went for close CC, but he kills it with the Ice Punch, the second one, and gets the boost. So I mean, that's an offensive Buzzwole, but now Coco comes in, and Coco can kind of just tee off with Dazzling Gleam, because Clef can switch in, maybe. Yeah, Clef switches in, but I don't think it can take a Dazzling Gleam at this range. So Dazzling Gleam did 59, and he goes into Nidoking there, and I mean, Sludge Wave just kills, and he brings out the Hydreigon, and I mean, Hydreigon will, depending on the spread, I mean, it will get the kill on Nidoking. No, it doesn't, and so goes for Ice Beam here, doesn't get the kill, but at the same time, like, he's got Coco and Weavile in the back that just guarantee the kill on Hydreigon, so it's kind of GG here. So Coco comes out. I mean, like, it's a free, I mean, Dazzling Gleam there. And so Luca's up 1-0. And now for game 2, speed slow, music off. And see, Luca brought in the Spectre, Clef, Zapdos, Gastrodon, Melmetal, and Urshifu. And Matt brought out the Heatran, Celesteela, Hippo, Urshi, Spectre, and Zapdos. So, I mean, you got 3 of the same mods. But let's go ahead and go. So he leads Hippo, he leads Urshifu, and I mean, Urshifu can kind of just tee off with Wicked Blows, but instead he goes into Clef here. So, I mean, free rocks for the Hippo. He can click Knockoff here, just in case, I mean, Heatran does something. But he goes for rocks. I mean, either way, it was a free move. I mean, there's nothing to lose by doing that. So Gastrodon comes out, which can just, I mean, it takes that Lava Plume, and it can, honestly, if it's carrying Toxic, just click Toxic on any switch in, or click Scald. Okay, so he stays in with Heatran, gets bought by an EQ, so yeah, staying in with Heatran on Gastrodon is not really the best move in case it's carrying like Earth Power or Earth Power. I mean, really, none of his stabs you want to stay in for. So he goes Spectre here, and I mean, he's got to watch out for the Hex, and goes for his Urshifu. I mean, Urshifu kind of ate up that Shadow Ball, so I mean, just looking at the damage, it looks like it may be Scarf. So I know like Specs does like around 50. So goes Wicked Blow, I mean, takes out 64%. Goes into Dose, I mean, again, he can just click Wicked Blow. So I mean, Dose comes in to kind of fish for a full pair, but I mean, it doesn't happen. So he goes into his own Urshifu to kind of sponge up the attack, and yeah, only did 25%, so it worked. So now, I mean, he's got momentum on his side. He can just kind of click CC here. But he goes into Clef, which is like the natural switch in, unless he's carrying like Poison Jab. So that did 36%, and he can probably click, I mean, yeah, Soft Roll is probably the best thing to click here. Oh, it goes for T-Wave, okay. So let's see, goes into Dose, so it can switch in on Celesteela. And if he's got Heat Wave or Discharge, pretty much like can deal Celesteela a bit, because he can't really do anything back except for like click Leech Seed. So it clicks Heat Wave, I mean, does what, 33%, so it would be like a 4-hit KO, probably 5 because of Protect if he's carrying it. So it goes Hippo here. I mean, Hippo honestly isn't really a switch in. I mean, except for Discharge, but it can't really just sponge up 2 Heat Waves, so he kind of got fortunate with that. And so he goes Spectre here, goes for Slack Off. That was a good switch on his part. I mean, he can honestly at this point just go straight for Wisp if he's like a subset, or so I don't think Shadow Ball. Yeah, Shadow Ball would 2 KO, but it will be unnecessary damage on the Spectre. So he puts up a sub. Let's see. Goes for Hex. Nice 40%. Goes heavy slam, and I mean, he can click Hex again if he wants to at this point, just to go ahead and make sure the kill is certain. Yeah, so he kills Celesteela here. Gets the Grim Knight, but I mean, he still has to worry about the other opposing specs here. And since that one switched in, you know it's Scarf. Because there's no reason to risk the speed tie like this early in the game. So he goes for Shadow Ball, and I mean, that only does like 36% to Melmetal. And Melmetal can kind of just fire off some double Iron Bashes. Which he does. And that does what? Close to 60%. So Hippo is at 34, so I mean, he can't take another one. And he... Okay, so Hippo is faster than Melmetal. Yeah, I don't think Melmetal's run any speed. So he missed the Toxic there, which is like super unfortunate. Goes for Protect. Clicks EQ. I mean... Goes back into Clef here. And clicks EQ again. And let's see. I mean, he can just click Softball at this point. Okay, so... Wait. 89. Yes, I think that his Hippo's running some speed. That's why I beat out the Clef. So he goes Zapdos there. Gets a Softball off. I mean... He could have honestly just clicked Moonblast twice. But instead, Matt goes for Roost. I mean, that's the smartest move. That's why he switched in, because, I mean, he knew that he was going to either defog or Roost. So it goes into Hippo again, and, I mean, Wicked Blow, Train starts again. And he just clicks it again. I mean, he's got no reason not to. Yeah, Dosh just dies of this, I'm pretty sure. And did he... Fortunately, he didn't get paired. Okay, so he avoided that, and, I mean... Spectre is going to come in, which is faster, and he can honestly go into... Okay, no, he sacks it. Yeah, the Spectre Scarf, I think he'd probably go into his Melmetal here. Because, I mean, I think Melmetal can take the +1 SB, and so he can click Double Iron Bash again. Boom. Yeah, only need one hit. So he goes in Hippo again. I mean, again, he can just click Double Iron Bash, or yeah, he goes Spect here, expecting probably the slack off. Yep. So I mean, good prediction. I mean, he can wisp it now. How much is it? Okay, so that does 23%. That means that Hippo most likely cannot break the sub unless he gets a decent roll. Because it needs to be 25% to break a sub. So he gets a sub up, goes for Toxic, which is great for Luca. Because that means he's got essentially two turns behind a sub. Goes for EQ and gets the crit, which breaks it, but he can click sub again. And Matt goes EQ here. Doesn't break the sub, and I mean, Spectre can just click Hex. And I mean, that pretty much seals the game, because the Hex here kills, and because even though the Spectre he has is faster, he's not, he can't go through the sub. So he clicks Shadow Ball here, breaks the sub, but unfortunately, Luca's Spectre comes back and kills. Crit didn't matter. But that's GG. So 2-0 for Luca, which means 2 points for Central, no points for Squad. And again, you got more of these to come.